Share my screen. See that okay, Paula?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, I'll make you a little smaller, put you down in the corner so we can see everything. Anybody want to start? Now let's go down the line. All right, start with you, Alan.
This is one of our stormy days from a few weeks ago. And it's because it's this shot, and I love the light and the different.
Where did you take it?
Right off the backyard.
Oh,
Looking at the mountains.
Nice, I like that.
It's just, I had my big lens on, so it was zoomed right in.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I thought about dropping it down a little bit, but. Just
Yeah.
wait till the dark. Not like-
It just lights up your signature.
I like your layers.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe something to bring out the eeriness, the darkness might help. I don't know. Let's just see real quick here. I'm thinking clarity might snap it up a little bit. Yeah,
Good idea.
let's just see what we got here. All right, let's go into camera raw and just go right down to clarity and should be in. Oh, they put it in effects, I think, didn't they? Yeah, there it is.
That makes it.
You got it.
Yeah, and maybe just taking down the highlights and bringing up the whites. Maybe just between those.
Actually, trying to see if we could get a little bit more of the mountains at the back there.
Mhm.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, a little snappier that way. I don't know.
At the very bottom,
What's that at the very bottom?
yeah.
Just,
Oh, that's part of
Just
the
about,
screen, okay.
Yeah, it looks like the
It's a
the
layer.
basin.
base of the mountain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think it's a lake? Could be a lake.
Well, that's why I was wondering. if it was.
It was, I mean, these moments only last for seconds, right?
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, they're pretty quick. The other thing you might want to try, let's just see if it does any, is a little contrast. Yeah. Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
helped.
Yeah, we do that.
Yeah, I think that snaps it up nicely. Maybe you can take the whites down just a little bit. There you go.
Very good.
Okay. That's right. I didn't set that hotkey up yet. Okay. All right.
So this is after we
Nice
last
column.
Wednesday. Went to the pond and there's the Agnes.
So the ice, the light, the light was right.
So this was after our last class?
Yeah.
Yeah, should have gone with you. I didn't have my camera though. Nice.
I always take it because I always pop in when I go by, so
So did you see one or two?
there's only, well, apparently there's two,
That's what I heard.
but, so. And yeah, you got to wait for it to,
So this
Getting
was
to the
like
level too.
3 o'clock in the afternoon or there.
yeah, about 3 o'clock or whatever.
And in the pond or in the?
In the pond,
Okay.
Nice.
not always in the pond though.
Yeah.
No,
I wonder if they're still there.
I'm sure they are, I'm pretty sure they're nesting there.
Yeah. Okay. There
We
you
got
go.
a picture of them be about 10 days ago, Sunday night.
Okay.
yeah.
So they've been there for a while.
You had a really.
All right. Beautiful.
I like the water coming out these week, I've got a whole bunch of them, but.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's nice. Definitely. Okay.
Amazing colors.
Yeah, for sure. Just
Did you do a lot in post to this?
No, not a lot, honestly. Maybe I brought up a little bit.
There's my little cursor.
And I think around his head, I sharpened it up a little bit because it was slightly out of focus, because it was focused on his body.
Mm,
And although it was a reasonable distance, so it still had a small aperture, right? So
Mhm.
it was enough to throw the head out a little bit of focus.
yeah, yeah. Nice. Maybe a touch of vignette if you want.
Oh,
The same day. You can never fail going over to that point.
I know, there's so much something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what I regret about not doing this is lying down in the ground.
oh, getting right eye to eye with them.
You just have to lie down in the ground.
Yeah,
You've got nothing to put on, so.
yeah. Well, if you already got this shot, then you had nothing to lose, because a lot of times you get down and off they go.
Yeah.
Okay, real nice. I don't know if you got any more detail on your raw, you might want to play around with that.
I think it's pretty well detailed out as far as I've got it, I think.
You know, we've gone through some tricks for kind of filling that in a little bit. There's another one we can try. Let's just see here. So I think it's too bright to do a color picker. Because you need something there if you're on the point color, if you go in there and it's like this, it's gonna, yeah, it's gonna tell you it's too white. That one might not be so bad. Let's just see. No, it's not gonna get the area you want. Even if you come down.
Can you show a before and after, Sandy, when you're working on it?
Sure. Yeah, that's not gonna work. So, oops. Should have stayed there. Let's go back. So instead of the color picker, you might try color grading, you know, and just go into the highlights. So maybe we'll want to use green. No, it's not even gonna add it. There's nothing there. Yeah, maybe just a hair. Nope. It's not gonna do it. Yeah, it's just too blown out. Yeah. The only other thing I've tried is if you go local.
You could clone a little bit from.
Yeah, you certainly could.
Just
You certainly could. The other thing to do would be to take a luminance range and just pick that hot area. And then in this area, it controls how much of it. So you've got two things to use, this one and this one. And rather than going and erasing all that stuff, what you can do is you hold down, no, it doesn't work on this one. Yeah, you have to go down into should have intersect here. Should. Yeah, here it is, intersect mask with brush.
So what is that actually doing when you do that?
So it's just gonna allow me to select the area I want it to be on. So I'm intersecting with a brush. So in other words, anywhere I paint it with a brush, that luminance is gonna work. So it's well, that's kind of large. Yeah, so let's just say we want to get it there and maybe a little in here. Okay. So at that point, you might be able to try and take this down a bit.
There you go.
Something like that. So it's just not, so it's not in your face. Yeah, you can,
Your coloring right there.
yeah. Now, the other thing it has, if that all fails, you've got two more things you can play with. You can take your color temperature down a bit, you know, play with your color temperature. And you've got this swatch here. You can pick. If you hold down and then go off of the color picker and pick something, you could pick, like an area like that, so. Maybe somewhere in there. You can actually fill it with a color. So if you wanted to do like a, like a green like that.
So would you do the same with the other highlight on the other eye? At the top?
Yeah, so you can just go back and with your brush, just paint it in to that area. You can do it anywhere you want. That's a nice thing about intersecting with a brush. You can just keep adding it in.
Oh.
Wherever you paint it, it'll take that luminance range. Even down here, although you probably want that to be blue, not green, but there you go.
Excellent.
So here's your before. Yeah. Okay. So you just gotta keep trying different tools till you get what works. I think I've shown you over the last few weeks, a number of different ways to try and knock that down. Yeah. So where's this at?
This is a place called Peggy's Cove in Nova Scotia.
Oh, up in Nova Scotia.
The light underneath the top of the dome is what really makes it.
Yeah.
A lot of it makes it, but that was really.
Mhm.
I like the water up in the right hand side as well.
Yeah, and the silhouettes of the people
Yeah,
too.
the only thing I did that, I left the people in there. The only thing I did here really was brightened up the building
Yeah.
to get a little bit more.
Oops. Whoa. Like I say, hit the corner to go to sleep. Stay awake. I'm not done. Okay.
This is just from a few weeks ago.
So you just took the background down to black. Yeah.
This is probably down the gardens, down at Abrego here.
Oh, Desert Meadows.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, they're really out now. We put our feeders back out and they're just having dog fights and the usual. Yeah, there are a lot of them out.
The woodpeckers are my hummingbird feeder.
Oh, yeah, they hang at the bottom and, yeah,
Drink.
they get the bugs and then they drink them down pretty hard. The worst time is in August when those long-nosed bats from Mexico come up and they drink them dry. One night they'll take the whole thing out. Yeah, it's pretty amazing, yeah. Yeah. Okay, David.
I swear.
Well, looks like we got them in two different things, so let's look at this one first.
One I was gonna show last week, but we skipped over it, so.
Oh, did I? Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
this is the sunset, at the canyon lands at the campground.
Canyon.
Day and a half.
Mhm. Nice. Yeah, beautiful
Go
sky.
back to the canyon ones.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It is.
I used topaz on this, one called Orton Glow.
Oh, yeah. Snapped it up a little bit. Nice.
This is Joshua Tree. National Park.
Mhm. Yeah, shadows really make it. Do you have to bring this back a bit? Was it silhouetted? Did you have to bring some of the detail back in here, or was it silhouetted?
I don't know. I mean, I used Lightroom and then I put it in topaz and put a soft grunge on it. I
Uh-huh,
don't know if that would have done anything.
yeah, yeah, maybe. Nice. Yeah, I like the glow.
I mean, in Lightroom, I took the highlights down and the
Yeah.
shadows up.
Yeah, yeah.
This is Duluth Falls in Washington State. There's a panel from top to bottom of, I took 3 different shots. And put them together so they had more detail.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
This is the totem pole that lasted.
Mm.
I just made the background black and put the green frame around it. Put it in topaz too, and put one called detailed architecture on it, which I kind of changed a little bit tone.
Mm-hmm.
Hands out, it's good.
Yeah, it looks really good.
There's depth.
Yeah. Brought up the grain in the wood nicely.
I was up from Winslow, Arizona. It was just stainless steel
Uh,
and. So I took a picture with it from I put it in topaz and put a abstract smudge on it with 80% opacity.
mhm.
It kind of enhance the whatever,
Yeah, that's a keeper. That's beautiful.
DeLorean.
the shaman, I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
Like it.
yeah. I like to see you get some more in this vein, if you find anything else that you could kind of apply that to, or it's something about the way it glows. It's just really pretty. It might be inherent just in the photograph itself in this particular case, but yeah, it's really got a nice feel to
Is
it.
there a particular, program you ran that through?
Pardon?
Is there a particular filter or program you ran that through, like
Topaz.
preset or whatever?
Yeah, preset, abstract, smudgy.
Abstract. I like what it did in that lower left corner with
Mhm.
that orange.
Yeah,
Yeah, little leaves down there, kind of
Yeah.
smudge them up too,
Yeah.
kind of give it an abstract
mhm.
look.
Nice feel. Yeah, that's really nice. Okay. Okay, Pat, oh, you got a bunch here.
I brought some, couple that I did, and then I brought some that need work.
Okay,
So
all right,
you
well,
can look at
let's open them all up and see what's what here.
one more that. Start with the one at the bottom.
The bottom, okay.
Okay, this was a picture that I took. And then
Whoa, oh, I see what happened. You must have had a DNG or something in there,
I don't think so.
or something triggered, topaz, all right.
So then I started.
That's
Well,
very,
You get the feedback or something. You might.
yeah, that's really weird.
And in elements, it allows you to do a stroke. And so that the white line around the gray is a stroke.
Mhm.
And then the
Nice.
same way around the red.
Mhm.
You can set it at.
It's just the one over at Desert Meadows. It's kind of low in the tree. Yeah, I've shot this one too. Yeah, it's really pretty. Yeah, that's a nice effect. Made it very graphic. And is that some material that you used to frame it?
No, it was. There's a graphics and then you can choose a background.
Oh, okay, so,
So this
so you're able to choose that. Okay. Interesting.
And we never did figure out why the corners cut off.
Oh,
I don't know why
Hmm.
that. I don't mind it, but I don't know how it happened.
yeah. Interesting. Okay, where do you want to go next?
And I didn't bring in the last one that I could bring.
All right, hang on, let me hide this real quick. This one,
Now,
okay,
so this was a ready-made frame that was in there. I started out with the back, well, actually the mat, and put a texture on that and a color. Then I brought my picture in and then added the ready-made frame.
Mhm. Now is the frame in elements?
Frame in the graphics part of the film.
In graphics or else? Oh, yeah, it's a nice frame. Yeah, I see whatever they're using to emboss this, looks like it's a small file because it's repeating a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, that's the texture that I added.
Yeah, I see that, but the file it uses to make that texture is small, that's why it's getting all those repeats.
Oh,
And then,
I just thought that was part of the picture.
yeah, I don't know if you can enlarge it or scale it or do something with it to change that or not.
To what, make it moved or?
Well, make it bigger so you can get all these repeats, like basically that's one repetition there. It's, you get in close, you can see them. Yeah, here, see that, that's about the size of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really small. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Let's go back here. And see what you got.
These were at Desert Meadows.
Uh-huh.
And I stopped there today and there's none blooming. So I don't know, this one was taken late afternoon
Mhm.
and you know, I had several shots of it, but I guess I'm not sure what to do with it. I've not done anything with
Mhm. And this one the same?
the thing.
Yeah, well, this one,
Strange looking file.
yeah, it is strange. Well, maybe it opens up later in the day.
It must.
Yeah.
Because there was nothing blooming this one.
Yeah, because you can see these are pretty closed up.
This was taken probably after 6 o'clock.
What time we do?
Today, probably. Yeah,
Mhm.
but see, it's on a fence that faces the east.
Mhm.
It also has trees around. Where they fence in their raised beds, that's
Mhm.
where this is on the east side.
So if it's on the east side, it's getting morning light.
Morning light, but there's a lot of trees, but there, I mean, you could see these buds like are in this picture, but there was nothing.
Yeah, kind of strange. So these actually look like they're attached, these little horizontals are attached. It's interesting.
It's a passion vine. is what it's
Uh-huh.
I went over there the other night to take some shots of flowers. And I got out of the car and switched on the camera.
That better. I hate it when that happens.
Oh, yeah, and you don't have a spare.
I never usually, I've been cut out once or twice, but I thought I'd learned my lesson.
Yeah, I always take a spare or put a brand new one in before I leave. Because it happens all the time. Well, guys, what would you do with this?
Get around it a little bit closer, cut out some of the background.
So crop in. Paula, you got any ideas?
Yeah, I would crop it as well.
No. What else would you do? Anybody
I'd isolate it and give it a Gaussian blur
on the background?
just a little bit.
Yeah,
I'll isolate it as well.
yeah, all right, well, let's play. So. So we got a crop tool out. I don't know, is this adding or subtracting?
One in the upper left is
Probably get rid of it.
Yeah, so maybe somewhere in here. Okay. How about the bottom, you want
Yeah.
right about there? But left and right, we okay?
So,
Maybe get rid of that leaf. Kind of bring it in just to, there we go. All right. And then let's go into camera raw here.
now, is the JPEG one or the raw? I think
It's a JPEG
I loaded both the raw and the JPEG.
of the same shot. Okay. Hang on.
Second one.
This one here.
382 NEF.
Oh, the 82. This one. Okay. All right, I guess we can start over here. Let's cancel out of this. All right. So it looks like it went right into raw here. Which it should. Okay, so let's just do our cleanup and then we'll crop later. If you want. So. A lot of times I'll just hit auto and see where it goes.
That's what I always start with auto, and if I don't like it.
Yeah, and I don't particularly like what it did. I'm gonna take the exposure back down, just double click that. Yeah, I guess I gotta double click on that. Okay,
yeah,
all right. And then I usually try and get into the area. The area that percent here. It interests me the most. We're gonna go down just a little bit from there. Gonna see how far I can push without getting too dingy. I think we can go all the way down on that and then bring our whites up a bit. Now you wanna visually look and see what you like, and you also wanna watch this histogram. So like we're making exposure, see if you go too far, it's gonna start creeping up the side here, and then you're gonna get a indicator as those are all plugged up, blown out. So you're gonna wanna bring that back down until that at least shuts off, and then visually kind of figure out where you wanna be. It's something like that, looks pretty good to me. And then I'll see if I like what to do with the shadows. Now, what I'm thinking is I'm gonna take the shadows back down and let that background go dark. Okay. And if I want to spice this up a little bit, I'll do it locally with the mask just for that. I think it gets me where I want to be.
Is there a brightness control with that one?
Brightness,
Right.
well, exposure gives you kind of an overall brightness, but
Right, there's an actual brightness in the Nikon.
yeah. Oh, Apple has it, yeah, yeah. Yeah, let's see if this pick subject, yeah, that did a pretty good job. It's got, looks like it's got a little bit back here, so what we can do now is subtract with a brush. Just get in there. Auto mask is on. Just real quickly, get rid of what we don't want. Look around. If there's anywhere else, no, looks like it's about.
It's not done yet, but it's not.
Yeah, okay. So at this point, if we want to take the shadows back up a little bit on this flower, we can. Because now we're just controlling where the mask is, which is red. The opposite of Photoshop, red usually means what you're blocking, but in camera raw and Lightroom, it's the opposite. Okay. And now the other thing you might want to do is add a little texture to sharpen it. See, I'm overdoing it so you can see it, but that kind of give you an idea. Somewhere in here, I think is enough. If you want to play with clarity a little bit, you can do that too. And I think that's probably about enough. Maybe we'll come down on those highlights again, just
So that feature that's in Lightroom where you can put the bouquet in the back of the background, is that available on?
you mean blur the background? Yeah,
Is it available on it?
yes, it is. So the other thing we can do, now we've made this mask for the subject. If we hit these three dots here, you can duplicate it and invert it, then that way it gets the background, right? So if I come out here, you can see it's doing everything but the flower. Okay,
Go up to filter, you can
yeah,
Gaussian blur or something like that.
yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't work in your mask, but you don't need it to because it creates its own depth of map. So basically it figures out everything that's out of focus in the background and then takes care of it. Before it was around, what you would do is you would take texture
Yeah.
and clarity and maybe clarity and just take them down a little bit, so that's the old way to do it. Right now, I think we just might want to maybe just make it a little darker. Let's just see here. Something like that, okay? And then let's go back and come up to our regular area, and down here, you've got lens blur. So when you hit apply, it's going to calculate a depth map. Now, if you shoot with an iPhone, you can create depth maps. That's the other way to do it. Then just to see how well it's working, we can see what the amount is here. Although it might still be working. I don't know. It's still going out. Here's the little, yep, just ended. Okay.
So if you were to crop in on that and then do that, would that run it quicker because it's working on a smaller area?
Probably, yeah. Exactly. So it doesn't look like it's showing a whole lot of depth. Maybe the old fashioned way might have been.
It's still circling to.
Oh, it's doing it again. Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go. But yeah, I mean, it's okay here. Here it still thinks it's in focus.
Try that one to the far right, send it to the far right, selection up at the bouquet. Down,
Up in here.
no, down at the
Oh,
selection of the bouquet thing. The
Oh, the bokeh. I don't know that, because you don't really have any highlights making bokeh. I don't know that it's gonna matter. So bokeh is usually around hot spots on dark areas. Yeah, yeah. What you can do is move this around and see where it's going. And spread it out a bit. Yeah, it's starting to get more of it now.
So what's the difference between those bokeh tabs? The one
Just the shapes. Like this one's more of a donut, and this one's, more of the normal ones where it's filled in. And these are kind of oblong, irregular. No, yeah, now this is done, let me just shift this over because I think it's going the reverse, so we want to go this way. Yeah, all right. So we want to. That's about all it's going to cover that's in the range before it starts affecting the plant. If we, or the flower itself in the center, if we move this over this way, this is your foreground area, that's going to affect blurring that. Now, if you want to blur more manually, you can use this blur tool And you can crank it all the way up if you really want to get it blurry. And make it large and just kind of paint this area. And say, I want all this to get blurred. And it'll do it pretty well.
Sure.
Yeah, so you can do it that way and then just get in.
And you're gonna crop it anyway.
Yeah, then just get in tight and do your
So
thing.
since you have the actual flower in a mask and inverted, anything you do on the background is not gonna affect the flower.
Not with this tool. That's, yeah,
As long as you have it inverted, it doesn't.
no, the mask is just for local corrections and this focus is a global. What it's doing is it's here, let me visualize, it's creating, it looks like we missed this corner. It's creating what we call a depth map of what's in focus and what's out of focus. That kind of helps you paint too, but basically the yellowest area is the most in focus and the black is the most out of focus. Okay. So you kind of visualize it if you want to see it.
I kind of like that black background with a.
Yeah.
You could bring that.
Yeah, that is kind of fun. Well, I turned it off and it's taken off. There we go. Yeah, kind of back to the 60s. So again, you can play with your boost and kind of see what it's doing. And I haven't tried this, but let's wait till this spinning arrows here stop. I don't know if you can change the blur amount after you paint it. Let's see what happens. Let's just turn it off and see what happens. Just curious. Yeah, you can. So you can make it real blurry to see where you're painting, and then you can adjust it after the fact too. So that's another way to
So
do
what
it.
does that boost do under the bokeh?
That'll boost the
Those?
blur amount. Yeah. So I think that's pretty natural there. That's not too bad. All right, so then we just say done. And then you can go in and crop it.
Okay.
Okay?
Can you save that for me, please?
Yeah. Where'd it go?
Sure, elements.
Oh, I hit done instead of, yeah, I hit done instead of okay. So yeah, let's see if it's gonna, yeah, my bad. Yeah. It's still there.
Oh, yeah.
Because it kept the text file that records all the things we did, just like in Lightroom. So it kept that either embedded or a sidecar. So we want to hit open instead of done. Yeah, I don't use this camera raw to bring things in much. I usually go through Lightroom, but okay, I was gonna do all that. So I'm probably gonna have to send you a link again. This is probably gonna be way too big, way too big to email, yeah.
Part of Photoshop, I mean, are they the same company?
Yeah, Adobe.
And what is the major difference between Lightroom and Photoshop?
Lightroom is basically Camera Raw and a cataloging library, if you will. So basically, the workflow it's intended for is you have a large body of work, you bring it in, you keyword it, you can do kind of batch stuff like what we did on here. If we wanted to do it on all the variations we shot of this flower, we would hold down our shift key and get them all together, highlight the one we worked on and say sync, and it would fix all of them exactly the same.
Wow.
So rather than, in Photoshop, you'd have to do it one at a time. So
Really?
it's a really nice tool when you're shooting, multiple images and especially of the same kind of thing.
Sure.
Like say you're doing a wedding and the wedding dress is hot and all the shots in a certain sequence, you just grab all those after you correct it and it does them all. So it's real nice in that respect.
So I did a wedding one year and 14 rolls of film, 2 rolls of film got caught in the developer when there was a power outage.
Oh,
This is before Photoshop. could
Yeah.
do Anything with it, but, we just turned it into black and white, it was so contrasty, and so it worked. We salvaged it a little bit.
Yeah, we were doing this huge shoot for, I can't remember if it was for Sears or Carson Perry Scott or somebody. But it was an all-day shoot and we took the morning stuff and sent it over to the lab and the guy calls me up, he says, are the models still there from your first shot? I said, yeah, why? He says, the whole rack fell into the tank and stayed too long and it's trashed. So we had like, about 20 rolls that went down the tubes. So basically he says, I'll pay the models time, just reshoot it, which was nice. At least he was honest about it. And yeah, fortunately they hadn't left yet, so we just got them back in the clothes we shot in the morning.
Good thing it wasn't, just a morning only shoot.
Yeah, really, yeah. Well, we got film back pretty quick back in those days, because the lab was only about 5 blocks away. All right, so I'll go save this for you.
That's really interesting. Wow, yeah, love
Very different.
Yeah. All righty.
Last year, I think it's.
Okay. So, wait, you got something else here we didn't see.
This shot that was. Shot out of the, it's out of Kingfisher. And I tried to do.
Oh, there he is.
No luck, but.
Yeah, there's not much information there. He's,
So this is a JPEG, is there not a,
yeah,
is it wrong with that?
there might be.
You could open it. Yeah.
So that's 93. Yeah, but let's just see. So 93. Yeah, here it is. Let's see what it looks like.
That's the first and last time I've seen one of those.
Yeah, they're not too.
It's a belted kingfisher.
Yeah, I think you're still pretty, yeah, just kind of
So. if
beyond the resolving power of the lens and the sensor here, I
They
think.
run it through Topaz with that.
Oh.
It always says if it's out of focus or kind of blurry if you run it through Topaz.
Oh, Topaz AI? Yeah, maybe. Let's just, let's see if I've got well. Yeah, let's open it and see what we can do here. Guess we'll crop it down first so it doesn't have to work too hard. Something like that. Okay. All right, so let's see if I got my AI in here. I think I do. Yeah.
So is there a difference between Topaz and Topaz AI?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's well, there's AI Clear in Topaz Studio. You can play with that a little bit, but new features.
Take out of focus shots and make them in focus, kind of sort of.
Yeah,
AI Clear.
yeah, AI Clear will do a little of that. Well, this is helping a little bit. Let's go up a little bigger and see. Yeah,
The eyes are sharper, the hair, everything.
yeah, it's starting to. Oh, I see. Now they've changed how this works, huh? Okay, what else do we have? So it's got denoise, which I don't think we need. Sharpen, adjust. interesting. Let's see what autopilot does. Yeah, they totally changed the interface on this again. I just updated this morning, so I haven't used it yet. Yeah,
Preset.
yeah, I guess you can save it as preset. Yeah, it's self-masked pretty well. So where do you adjust? There we go. Okay.
Did you just click the triangle?
Yeah, so I'm gonna. And it's not interactive. You gotta wait for it to update, so. I think that was just a bit too strong. Yeah, and I don't know that it needs any denoise. Let's just leave that alone for now. And I guess you can do all kinds of, like if you're. If it moved or you moved the lens a little bit, you got lens blur or motion blur. So we got different ways to do it. But yeah, I think that'll help it a little bit. All right, so now that we're done, where's the, oh, here it is, export back to Photoshop. Okay. Yeah, so that's doing it. Yeah, so it's a little better. So if we go back in our history and go back to crop. So there's before and after. Yeah, so I think it's helped a bit.
That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So now that we're at this point, what do you guys think? You want to do anything with it? Crop it in a bit more? Yeah.
Get rid of the twig behind his head.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
Would you blur the background a little bit more than what it?
I think it's pretty blurry out. Oh, there is some motion blur going on here. Interesting. All right. Well, let's just get rid of that. Okay, do you want to separate them from the background a little bit more?
Yeah, I wanted to. Blur the top out of.
So what would you do?
Well, I was thinking blurring the background more, but if you would darken the background.
That could work. Yeah, all right, so let's go and. So we're gonna go in here and select subject. Pretty close, all right. And then we're just gonna we'll duplicate and invert just in case we want to do some more work on him. Okay, so now we've got this mask here, which if you double click on it, you can name it in case you get confused. You get a lot of these, you can call this background.
So your duplicate was also in inverse.
Yeah, you've got the ability to do, here, if you hit these three little dots here, you've got duplicate and invert, which is kind of nice. Yeah. So now that you've got that, you could come in here and you can either just take the exposure down a bit. Yeah, maybe take some highlights down. And then I just maybe take a little bit of texture out. And a little sharpness out. That's probably enough to do the trick.
And I crop it just a hair more, that white twig on the far left is just.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so let's go back here and maybe something else we might want to do is. I always think of where they put things here. The vignette. Maybe we just vignette that down a bit. Figure a midpoint. Somewhere in there, maybe we want to feather it a little bit. Bring it up a little bit. Now you've got different priorities. In this case, maybe highlight priority isn't so good because you don't like those twigs. So maybe we just go into paint overlay. Nah, that's not so good. Well, let's see. You're gonna have to darken it up some more. Yeah,
There's not a strong mix figure.
mhm. Yeah, let's see if highlight priority.
I would really-
Yeah, actually, I think I like highlight priority still better. Yeah. Yeah, maybe we can make that midpoint down a little bit. I'm sorry, Pat?
He pops out better now.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's a big difference.
I'd still crop just a smidge off the left-hand side, because it would also give him just a little bit more. Not in the center,
Yeah. I think these bother me too, so let's just look around and see what we want to do.
Bring that one branch to that lower right.
Mhm. Well, I don't want to put it in the corner. I usually like to keep it somewhere above, yeah, or below, so. Something like that I think could work, and then I would zip that out. With the clone or a heel brush. So, that work for you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so then we'll come in here.
watch this before. There's a world of difference there.
Getting that background back. to really-
There we go.
2 different pictures.
Okay. So, save that real quick.
Am I the only one that asked you to say anything?
Yeah,
Alan laughs at me.
because you're supposed to do it yourself.
No,
All
but I tried to-
right. All right. So here's, let's see, wait a minute. Let's go back here. All right. So I'm gonna make a snapshot here and then we'll go back to, that's whoa, that's,
Where
where,
disappeared.
where'd he go? There he is. There's before
Well,
and after. There he is.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, so. Okay.
So what actual size is this?
Not big, 1473 by 1027, so pretty tiny. Yeah. If you do it
I've got a question. When you crop in, like, I just do it visually and do what I like, right? Just much like what you do. But if you're going to print something, you have to think a little bit more about what you're cropping or size or.
it depends. I mean, if you want it to be the aspect ratio of the paper, then yeah, you should probably keep that in mind and put it in there. If not, I usually like to float it on a lot of white paper anyway, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
So if I want this as a 4x6. It's
well,
big enough for that.
let's take a look. Usually what I'll do is I'll go in here and see image size. And right now it's, so if I just took that to, well, let's just leave resample off, so it keeps it the same size.
Yeah.
And we'll take it 4,
Yeah.
or actually, take this to 4. So 4 by 5.7, you're pretty close. If you want to take this to 6. Yeah, so it's like 4 1/8, so you'll lose a little bit off the sides. Or the top and bottom, rather. Yeah, so that could work. And you could actually. I print a lot of stuff at 240, not 300 DPI, especially on the Epson. It seems to resolve nicely, so. Canon too, for that matter, so, you could resize it to that. To 240, so let's just make this 240, so it's gonna go down a little bit. All right, so it's 6 by 4 and a little over 1/8.
So when you print here, you would always sit have the resolution like.
You can tell what resolution you want to print it at. It should be a dialog box for that. Or a lot of times it'll just take the resolution of the image.
Okay,
you know,
so you don't tell.
it'll base the size on what the resolution is and the
You
size.
don't tell it the resolution, it just gives that information.
I'm not, I don't remember how they set this one up. I've been working on the Canon printer, so I don't remember the Epson dialog box, to be honest with you. But if you look, when you do page setup, it'll be in there.
See, because when I print through Elements.
Mhm.
Box.
Yeah, so there should be a page setup and a printer setup. You should have two boxes there. All right, so we'll save that again. And close that out. Okay. You're welcome. Let's see here. So, Paula, you still there?
I'm still here.
Okay. Oh, like that.
Now, this was a snapshot taken out of a garden at Walt Disney World. I just put a little painting effect on it and gave it a black border,
Mhm.
brought up colors a little bit.
Yeah, that's fun.
Right.
Yeah, I like that. I like those generous radiuses on the corners too. Yeah, it works with this pretty nicely. Nice.
This guy was just hanging out at the managed to get him as the truck went by. Brought up his colors a little bit, his eye,
Uh-huh.
took the background down a little bit.
Was this at Reed Park or somewhere else?
No, somewhere else. This is Florida.
Oh, down in Florida. Okay,
Yep.
yeah. Generally, I don't like that narrow of an aspect ratio, but when you've got a giraffe that's kind of tall and narrow, I think it works pretty well with it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. Okay.
It was a wall that I just liked the texture and the colors, and I just toned down some things and brought up some other stuff, like
Mhm.
goals and so forth.
Yeah, it's very nice. Interesting. Almost looks like the brick was painted or something. Or the rocks, yeah.
Florida, and he was just walking along the edge of the waterway, so I managed to get him before he moved too far.
Mhm.
Where was this at, Paula?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Pat wants to know where this was from.
This is in Florida.
Okay. Yeah, these guys are everywhere. I saw them all over Japan too. Nice. Yeah, maybe slightly darkened just around him a little bit. I don't know.
Okay.
Just get a little more separation.
Even a vignette?
Yeah, it looks like there's a pretty natural vignette going now, but I think
Yeah,
just,
I did put a little bit of vignette
Yeah.
on it.
just a little bright in here.
Okay,
Yeah, you can do that pretty easy with a nice kind of large brush. Or maybe even a radial blur, but so just locally get a brush, get a pretty big one here. And that might be enough. And then you hold your option key down, you can take it off the bird real quick.
mhm.
I'm not being that exact, but close enough for government work. All right. And then, I would maybe just start with highlights a little bit and white. Yeah, that's enough. Just want to separate them a little bit. Yeah. So
Well,
they're
thanks,
before and after.
yep. That
Yeah.
makes sense, that's good.
Yeah, I can go in maybe a little bit around his eye and spark that up a little bit too. Okay.
Mhm,
All right.
thanks.
Sure.
This little guy was in an Avery, also in Florida,
Mhm.
and I just like the look of him cleaning himself and just sitting there.
Mhm.
Again, I put a little bit of oil painting to bring out the texture in the log with the greens and the background.
What do you guys? Does anything bother you about this one?
The blue on the.
Yeah, I'd tone this down. Just to
Okay,
competing with him so much.
take
And
the
maybe
white-
to this, or yeah, just bring it down maybe to this
yeah,
level.
I thought of taking that one on the right out entirely.
Yeah, you could, or just knock it down a little more. But yeah, this
Yep.
one just, yeah, if you could maybe almost that dark, this whole area here, yeah, that would help out a lot. And maybe just a little bit here and here, just to keep your focus here. The other thing you might want to do is just slightly darken the log, mask around the feet. You could bring that log
Yep.
up too, and that'll bring you right into here. Okay, good. All right, I guess it's down to me.
I think you missed Daryl. Daryl?
Did I? Yes, I did.
Not much to miss.
Oh, I see. You're in a folder here. That's how I missed you. All right. Thanks, Pat. So focus stack, did you have any luck back
That
there?
was the project to work on. The other 4 images were just things that I've had fun with and
All right,
looking for critiques or any.
all right. Let's just open it one at a time and we'll take a look here and see what we got.
Okay, so this is shot at F what 40, wherever I stop down the
All the way down.
farthest it'll do,
Mhm.
so that the entire plant is in focus. But what happens to the background is unacceptable to me. So if you go back and look at that focus stack, you'll see the one where it's in at like 5/6, and it's each shot is on one particular pine or spike of that.
Okay. Before we move back, so that's what a bokeh effect. If these were sharper, Pat, we use that new focus that we were working with in Camera Raw, you would get these kind of effects, and then you could change the way these bokehs were. I mean, if you wanted them to be like little donuts, like where the centers were dark, you've got that option. That's what those 4 different bokehs were for.
Okay,
Yeah.
because those dots are very respected.
Mhm. All right, so we go on this focus stack, you want to just,
It's go the 8, go down further, yeah, further there, anywhere in there, I guess,
all right,
where it's just. Well, that's the color version, but that's the background that I'm looking for. And what I did is in this series was wanting to learn, and you showed me once and it was unsuccessful. I've tried and have been unsuccessful trying to duplicate.
Mhm.
How many shots did you have?
It's like 15, 16, something like that.
Yeah,
However
quite a
many
few.
Spikes there are.
Did you go back and look at that?
No,
since-
have process. We'll do that at the end of. the
All right,
process.
sounds good.
And this we don't have to do with now, but
All right,
that tells you. Now, the other thing we can do is mask it. And what Linda did is put a Gaussian blur in the background. She masked off the
Yeah,
plant and did it, but I kind of wanted to see what would happen with the focus stack.
you know, what might be interesting is to, see if that focus blur or lens blur
Oh,
does anything. Yeah, then you won't have to mask it at all. It'll just figure it out by depth. Hopefully.
I saw a little bit there, definitely changed.
Yeah,
So you didn't
let's crank it all the way up.
select the plant.
Yeah, that might be a little better. And then you could also mask it off and make these darker, you know, so they're not so prominent. That might be an option.
Still.
Tiny bubbles. Yeah. All right, so then let's just here put subject. Yeah. Little cleanup there, so subtract, get a brush. Just get rid of this right here. And back in here. Okay,
Right up at the top left.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
not sure you're gonna notice that much in them, and then areas that,
Right in the top left.
yeah, and then the areas you missed, that it missed itself. Like in here, you would just go to an add with a brush. Okay, and then you could just. Then hold your option key down and come back. And clean them up. I like to overdo them a little bit and then come back and fix them. That's just my habit. You can develop your own. There we go. A little bit up there.
So this one is the one your f-stop was,
This one is like stopped all the way down, whatever the maximum F stop, I think it's at 40, it might be at 45.
All right, so now that we have this, we can come down here and let's just see what happens if we take the white down. Oops, we're in the wrong place here. Let's go back. We're gonna invert this mask, so let's just. There we go. All right. So let's try taking the whites down, maybe the exposure a little bit. Or you just get rid of them altogether. I mean, it's your option. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of like a little bit of it in there, maybe a little hint. Something. And maybe now that we have this, maybe what we can do is go back and see if maybe we take this down a bit or off. Let's try it with it off. Yeah, I guess we'll leave it on. We could just turn it on and off and see what it does too.
So that'll show her the donuts when you're on that, it was right down there.
Yeah,
You just
let's-
show her what's going on with that.
I don't know if that's gonna work or not. Cause they're already out, they already are fuzzed out in bokeh. If they were highlights.
It's still thinking on it though. Before you
Yeah.
change it, there you
Yeah, let's make it this one and see what.
the donut, it had to be really.
Yeah, you want some
circular and
point lights, yeah,
bright.
yeah. Yeah,
go.
I like that better. It almost looks like it's lit from above.
mhm,
Nice image.
yeah, clean up the mask a little bit here and there. You get the idea. Okay. Alrighty. That. Yes, just that little lake over in Sarawita. Just caught a reflection of the, I guess those are slides or something that they have in the pool area. Just kind of liked it. All this stuff is just pretty local. I took the back road from Rio Rico to Patagonia about a week or so ago, and there's like, after you take the South River Road and you turn to go north to Patagonia, there's like this little cave with a shrine in it. Yeah, I've not seen that before, so I just stopped and the light was coming, it was like real late, almost dusk, so it was just like shining right into it. It was kind of neat. Yeah. I worked on that. Also on that road, just outside of Rio Rico, there's a farm with some rusting vehicles there, which were kind of fun. So it's kind of being taken over by the landscape.
Do you use some sort of texture or anything?
No, that's just the patina on it. Yeah,
So you can get in there, no problem, or is it?
I shot from the fence. Yeah, I didn't walk in because it was private property.
Like dogs?
Yeah, that too. Although the gate was open, but yeah, I'm sure maybe it's hanging out in the barn or something. So this was on the same property. Yeah, this one I like a lot too.
Where was this?
It's on that road you take when you go down to Rio Rico off 19. You come down and then you I think it's 282 and then you turn right and then you turn left to go in that South River Road along that riverbed.
The River Road?
Yeah, it's just maybe a mile or two from where you made the turn to go east again. And it's on the right-hand side, on the south side.
The two bicycles really.
Yeah,
nice
yeah,
balance to it
yeah.
as well.
yeah. I toned this down quite a bit because it was distracting. I really like what's going on in the windshield. That was kind of fun there.
Guys probably got still in there.
Yeah. And then this was over on South Convento in the barrio. There was a gallery opening last Saturday night. And I was walking to the car and just kind of caught out of the corner of my eye the reflections of all the buildings that were on and open across the street were reflecting in the windows of this building.
Neat area, isn't
It is a decent, yeah, it is fun. Yeah, first I kind of cropped in on just on the window, but I like it better with the sill and the wall and stuff. And then I don't know, this I cropped out originally, but I kind of like it. Yeah, I think it just adds a little bit to it. Same with this, I took this out too, but then I think it just adds a little depth and dimension. So, trial and error, playing around, get it where you want it.
Picks up the reflection of what's in the window.
Yeah.
The blue of the window really is what's going on there.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's some kind of triangular window at the peak of the building across the street. It was kind of fun there too. And it kind of went with the triangles and things that are going on here with the steps.
Someone's home then?
Yeah, I think it's a loft work sleep area, because up here there looked like there was a bedroom up in this loft and the rest of it was kind of like a work. Well, there is, and the reflections across the way. Yeah, that's where one of the openings was.
Right by the bar, right by that bar there.
Yeah, yeah. So you got the window mullions here, and then this is all reflected from behind me across the street. And actually, that's me right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of gives you that depth thing going on. It was kind of fun. Yeah, so that's what I got lately. Let me kill the recording and so on. So stop sharing.